a four-door SUV electric.
Are you guys crazy?
To take your most cherished icon and pledge it to electrification, it's unheard of.
It was exhilarating, but it also scared the out of me.
The heart of the company's on trial here.
But this is where the magic happens. This is the spirit of Ford.
You guys need to create a new icon.
This could be something really unique.
We have to deliver on it.
It's got to be fun to drive.
That was awesome.
Got to be eye-catching. Most of all, it's got to go like hell.
This is the future.
Guilt-free transportation with iconic design.
I said to the team, this is a Mustang. You better drive like one. It was awesome.
We are bringing performance and environmental friendliness in one vehicle in a way that we've never been able to do before. It's an incredible Mustang.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's video. I hope you're having a splendid day. My name is Maz, and in today's video we will be talking about Ford's new release, which is the Mustang Mach E, and also I would like to speak some about this evolution or revolution or whatever we want to call it with regards to electrifying vehicles, either being in pure electric or hybrid versions. And that is to talk a little bit about infrastructure and some of the issues I would think potentially we can get with just going pure electric then. With that said, let's jump into the video and discuss some of the points. Ford did officially release the Mustang Mach E, and it is a SUV which is pure electric. We will get into the details. I just want to briefly talk about the history, and people are going mad. Not only is the Mustang name used and also the Mach name as well. So let's briefly talk about the history. Ford did introduce a performance model of the Mustang in 1968 for the 1969 year model called Mach 1, and that continued until 1978. And there was a model year between 2003 and 2004 where the Mach 1 was reintroduced. And for those of you who are not familiar with the terminology Mach, so a Mach number is the ratio of speed of an object in relation to the speed of sound in a given medium. So at sea level and in regular air, that speed is Mach 1 is 761 miles per hour. No Mustang has ever gone that fast, but at least it gives you the background of where that name is coming from and the intention Ford had with that model then. So that was a brief historical walkthrough. However, using the Mustang name and also the Mach name in the new version of the Mustang Mach then, which is the electrified version, has caused a lot of screams and shouting and angry people and whatnot, because the heritage of the Mustang name and also the Mach name is really strong. It goes back 55 years, and people always look at a Mustang and they know what it is, and they equal it to having a V8 motor more or less, etc, etc. Now that Ford has used the name Mustang, then people are raving over this. However, from looking at it from Ford's point of view, of course it's a marketing strategy, because even people that are not that interested in cars and Mustangs specifically, they still adhere to the name Mustang because they're familiar with it. It has been around since forever more or less, and we can see the same for the Porsche Taycan Turbo. Also, that is a pure electric vehicle, but still Porsche use the name Turbo, and Turbo S I think they have as well. And that is because people are familiar with that terminology and that naming and the history, etc., and the pedigree and so on. So of course it is a marketing strategy. The question is, will it impact anything with the Mustang owners? I don't think so. I mean, the real fanboys are not that many, as most of the people buying a Mustang to enjoy a great car then. However, and also Ford is selling the cars, I mean, of course, outside of US, and to be able to bring the Mustang name to the masses, I don't know if you can call this car coming to the masses, because most likely it will be quite expensive abroad. Who is the Mustang Mach E for? Of course, people will be cross-shopping that car to the coming Tesla Model Y. Volvo has an XC40. I think it's a bit smaller though than the Mustang Mach E. We have Mazda coming out with a model as well, similar size though to the Volvo. I believe Mercedes is coming with a model. I think it's the GLC that will come in an electric version as well. BMW will most likely be releasing a car soon. And more manufacturers will be releasing electrified SUVs, which would be the potential competitors to the Mustang Mach E. However, the persons that would potentially be cross-shopping against these cars or amongst these cars, are they Mustang owners? Potentially it could be somebody that wants to have a daily but still have their Mustang for the fun driving side of it, with the experience and the sounds and so on, and the unique styling of the Mustang. That could actually potentially be a group of buyers, because they're of course familiar with the Mustang brand and are true to Ford. Most likely that is more applicable in the US than abroad. And other group of people are potentially folks that know about the Mustang and knows its heritage and so on, but could never be able to buy, or not to be able to buy because the Mustang Mach E is relatively expensive, but they cannot afford it as a only fun car or a car at the side or a second car and so on. And however, they are still familiar with the Mustang name and the Mustang branding and the heritage and the history and so on, and think it's a cool thing, and potentially they are a bit interested in cars as well, and they would go for a Mustang branded electrical SUV then. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have people potentially that are not that familiar with cars, etc. I don't know how the Mustang name or the Mach name, etc. will appeal to them, if it will appeal to them or not, but as soon as they will start reading the history and so on, most likely it will actually catch their interest, so to speak. Who do you think will be buying a Mustang Mach E? Have you considered one? Maybe you have already put your down payment on one, or you have totally disregarded because the Mustang name is not to be linked with an SUV and an electrical one that is. Leave your comments in the comment sections below. That would be very interesting to see what your thoughts are regarding this matter. So let's briefly go over some of the specifications of the 2021 Mustang Mach E. If you want full details, more input, etc., do visit macheforum.com, and there you will have all the details you need. And man, it does look really good, I have to say. We'll get to the design in a bit, but let's just briefly go over the different versions that will be dropping, and also some of the battery options you would have. So starting off, you will get something called Select, then you up the ante a bit, go to Premium, then to First Edition, California Route 1, and the GT. And the different series, as they call them, do not all get the same battery options and so on. We will have a standard range battery and an extended range battery, and depending on the model you opt for, you get more wattage out of it. As you can see, the max wattage you can get out of a Select is 75.7 kilowatts. However, on, let's say, the first edition with the extended range battery and all-wheel drive, you get 98.8 kilowatt hours, which is really good. And as you can see, the targeted EPA estimates are 300 miles for the longest ranges, which is really good if that holds to be true then. And of course, with electrical vehicles and having all-wheel drive, the 0 to 60 times are crazy fast. Even with the base model, if you want to call it like that, we are at mid 5-second range, and with the GT model we are looking at a mid 3-second range. All of them have 5 seatings, as you can see. We will not go into all of the details, but they will all come with a humongous center dash screen and also a big dash for the driver then. And then you will have more and more options and equipment as you go along. And as you can see, all of them do have 8 years of warranty, up to 100,000 miles for the battery system. One thing I would be a little bit reluctant is to actually buy the first model year or even the second model year for this type of vehicle. I would rather, you might hate me for it, I would actually rather wait potentially to model year 3 before actually going in to this. So that was a little bit about the different models. Again, then we will not go into details. If you want further details and chat around, the macheforum.com will be your place to go. Let's briefly talk about some of the design aspects which I really like. And to start off with, I want to start with the rear fender line here, which is very similar to the S550 models, as you can see. Let's see if we can find a better picture. This one is pretty good. As you can see, the line here and the bulging is really looking good. And also on the front end, I would believe, I mean, it looks a little bit like the current 2018 up Mustang. I would think that if a facelift comes, it will look something similar to the Mach E, and the taillights will most likely also get an update to look something similar to the Mach E. I would guess, I'm not saying that's the way it is, but man, do they look really good. They still have kept the traditional Mustang tri-bar style, but with a very modern look to it. But still, you cannot mistake this for being a Mustang. I really love this taillights, and hopefully they will carry over some of it to the regular GT model. Here again we have that beautiful bulge. However, this portion of the car doesn't resemble that much to me to be a Mustang. Potentially the grille or non-grille or whatever we want to call it. If it would have had a honeycomb mesh, etc., it would be somewhat similar. But from the A-pillar and forth, it's not that much of a Mustang style. However, we have that, let's go up to a side shot here. There we still have the sort of the fastback line, but I mean, this could be any car more or less with regards to looking at it on the aspect from a side profile. However, again, that nice bulge on the rear fender is really pronounced and it's looking really good. The headlights, to me, they look a little bit like a Asian car. Still, they look good, but I mean, they don't look Mustang-like, neither does the 2018 Up Mustang, so I guess that's pretty fine as such. And a nice feature for some tech freaks and so on will like this center screen, which looks like Tesla's cars as an example. However, here we do get a dash in front of the driver, not like the Tesla Model 3 where we don't have anything in front of the driver, we only have the large screen. And looking at the interior as such, I think, I have to see it in real world, but it looks really good and nice in the pictures. Let's see if we can find, here we have a nice night picture with the LED lights in the interior. So from an interior point of view, it seems to be looking very good. However, how the quality of the materials, etc. are, that has to be seen then. And being an electrical vehicle, we have a lot of space in the front of the car, as you can see, and also it seems to be able to load quite a bit of stuff in the back. GT looks pretty good. So that was briefly some of the design cues and design elements, exterior and interior. I do have to see one in real life, but I think once you see it in real life, I think it will be very eye-catching, to say the least. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was a bit about the Mustang Mach E. Let me know what you think of it in the comment sections below before we jump over to the second topic, which I want to talk about today, and that is we are seeing this increase of electrified vehicles and hybrid cars and motorcycles and mopeds and so on and so on. And I have some discussion points I want to bring up, and let me know what you think of them and if you have considered anything about it. So to start off with, if we talk about the infrastructure, so in order to even be able to drive an all-electric vehicle, you need to, of course, be able to charge it somewhere. For people who own their own homes, live in houses, etc., you could potentially then install a charging station and so on at home and charge your vehicle. But for people that live in apartments and so on, it might not be as simple. You could just plug the cable into your socket or outlet and charge the vehicle. However, that is not recommended. It is recommended then to have a charge box then. And living in apartments and so on, I don't know how it works in the US, but here in Sweden you have to agree and and you have to agree of a sum in order to even to install it, and then potentially add something to your rent then. And that is something that needs to be discussed, and also how is that supposed to be implemented in a quick manner, because what we're seeing is that we're being pumped with electrical vehicles. Still, the numbers are very low compared to cars being sold that are not electric, but that is something to keep in mind. And also, when we talk about infrastructure, what charging possibilities do you have along the road or along your drive? Tesla have their own supercharging stations, and there are coming other type of charging stations for non-Tesla cars, so to speak. However, is that enough? How much do we need? For every gas station, do we need to have at least, I don't know, I'm just making it up, 10 charging stations, because it takes some time, at least with the technology that we have now, to to charge a car up to, let's say, 70-80%. If that takes 30 minutes per car, how many charging stations would you need, and so on, in order to cope with that? And the second important topic I want to talk about is that how do we get, or how do we even produce the electricity to get into the charging station? Because charging an electric car, we saw that 100 kilowatt hour battery will require quite amount of juice to actually charge it. And if, let's say, we have a 50-50 split between electric vehicles and combustion engine vehicles running on the road. Those 50% of those cars need to have their electricity coming from somewhere. And let's take Sweden as an example. Here in Sweden, the take is not to have nuclear power plants and so on, but instead to go for more environmental friendly ways of actually producing electricity. And again, then will that be enough if you don't have enough nuclear power plants? Just as an example, I'm not an expert in energy, but I would think somehow you need to cope with that extra amount of electricity that would be required. And also electricity in Sweden at least is quite cheap per kilowatt, but most likely if we see a massive increase of electric vehicles, potentially then that rate will go up. And the third topic and final topic I want to talk about with regards to electrical vehicles, people say that they are environmentally friendly, some people say it is not, and it's an interesting topic because looking at the life cycle of a vehicle from producing a regular combustion engine vehicle until its end of life compared to an electrical vehicle, it will be to see those really detailed analysis. Most likely it has been done, but however, producing those batteries and so on, that will be interesting to take into account when considering of how environmental friendly a car is. And also another topic is what do you do with the batteries once they have depleted or they cannot be used in the car. I know there is ongoing attempts to reuse those batteries for other appliances. However, that technology is still not there. And then what do we do with 5-10 million batteries of the size which you have in cars? You can't just throw them in the ocean. You need to have a plan for them and do something with them. And also at the moment, if a battery goes bust and you need to change it, okay, if you have warranty it will be covered, but it is a really expensive component to change because it's more or less heart of the car, except for the motors then. And what happens when you don't have your warranty left and your insurance will not cover it? Let's say a Tesla now, and in 15 years time or 10 years time when that battery goes bust, what do you do then? Hopefully by then the battery prices have gone down so much so you can actually swap for a new battery pack. But if that never happens, what do you do then? Then you're standing there with a very expensive paperweight which you cannot do anything with. Potentially you can plug it in and play some PlayStation on the massive screen. I don't know, but that is some food for thought. So with all of that talking then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Please do leave your comments in the comment sections below because I really do think this is an interesting topic. I haven't posted similar type of video before. It's the first time, so it's a bit difficult to what to speak of and what not to speak of, but hopefully you have had an eye-opener, or at least you have been thinking of some of it. Please do share what you think. Give me 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, subscribe, and until the next time.